Well, there's no surprise because you have the PowerPoints in front of you. Look at that guy, x squared e to the x. Oh my gosh, it's the exact problem from the test. If only we did this PowerPoint before your test. We didn't. So sad. Step 1, what is it? Find the domain. Technically, we have a product here, x squared times e to the x. Whenever you're finding the domain of a product, you looked at the domains of the individual parts. So x squared, does x squared have any fractions? Radicals? Logs? What's the domain of x squared? All reals. Okay. E to the x, any fractions? Radicals? Logs? Is that a logarithm or is it an exponent? It's an exponent, period. There's no log, there's no ln. So it's an exponent. So there's no fractions, there's no radicals, there's no logs. Right, but it's not in the original function. So, but since there is no log or ln, there's no logs. So what's the domain of e to the x? All reals. So what's the domain of h of x? All real nothing. Numbers. Nothing to worry about. 2. Critical numbers. If you would, please find the derivative. And once you're done finding the derivative, I want you to factor the derivative. It's going to make the next 2 steps easier. Okay. How does this factor? What do they both have in common? So if you take out an x and an e to the x from both terms, what are we left with? X plus 2. Is that okay? So again, this is x times e to the x. This is 2 times x times e to the x. So if we take out, that's a bad color. If we take out an x and a e to the x from both things, there's your x plus 2. So what do we do next? See where the derivative is 0. Very good. This is a product, x times e to the x times x plus 2. When you have a product that equals 0, that means the individual parts could equal 0. So the first individual part is x. So x equals 0, what does x equal? 0! So that's a critical number, 0. E to the x, so we said e to the x equal to 0. I'm going to explain this 2.5 ways. First method, let's just talk about it. E is a number, right? It's 2 point something. So if you raise 2 point something to any number, will you ever get 0? No. Okay, that's one explanation. Another one, if you want to rewrite this as a log, you'll be taking the natural log of 0. If you do the natural log of 0 on your calculator, it's going to say error. So that's another way of saying you're not going to get any answers. So for e to the x, this does not contribute anything. The third way of explaining it, if you remember the graph of e to the x, which I'm going to erase because we need this space, looks like this. Does it ever touch the x-axis? No. 3 ways of explaining things. Awesome. The last one, if x plus 2 equals 0, what does that say about x? So when the derivative is 0, we get 2 critical numbers, 0 and negative 2. Okay. How about the derivative not existing? Check your 3 things. Are there any fractions? Radicals? Logs? No. So, do we get any more critical numbers? No. Boop. Very good. So for your third step, if you would, do your number line. I want you to do your test points. So put your test numbers into your derivative. What do you get for the left of negative 2? To the right of negative 2, between negative 2 and 0, and to the right of 0. Good. So to the around negative 2, we go from increase to decrease. So at negative 2, we have a relative max because negative 2 is in the domain. Very good. Around 0, we go from decrease to increase. So at 0, we have a relative min for the same reason. It's in the domain. Awesome. So if you would, please plug in negative 2 and 0 back into the original function. Keep your answer exact. So what's negative 2 squared? 4. And what's e to the negative 2 exactly? E to the negative 2. So what's 4 times e to the negative 2? There you go! So your relative max is negative 2, comma, 4e to the negative 2. Now, if you were to plot that, yeah, you're going to need a decimal. But as far as the exact value, that's the exact value. And how about 0? Put in 0 in for x without a calculator. You don't need it. What's 0 squared times e to the 0? What's 0 squared times anything? 0. Because what's e to the 0? What's any number to the 0 power except for 0? 1. So what's 0 times 1? 0.